I've been watching this new sci-fi series on Netflix called Three Body Problem, and it made me realize that I love cosmic horror. Cosmic horror stories explore life forms and phenomena that are so strange and different from our everyday experiences that they elicit in us something primal, the fear of the unknown. You probably have seen elements of cosmic horror in movies and series, like the first season of Stranger Things, some episodes of Love, Death and Robots, and HBO series Raised by Wolves. But today, we're gonna look at movies that are purely cosmic horror. Movies that are not scary because of how bloody they are, or how scary the monsters look, but because the threat in these movies is incomprehensible to us as humans. So let's start with my favorite cosmic horror movie so far, Annihilation. So this movie is about this mysterious zone called the Shimmer that suddenly appeared on Earth, and it's been slowly expanding since. And most people who go inside don't return to report anything. So this biologist is tasked to go in there and see what's going on. And we spend the rest of the movie exploring the weird ways the Shimmer has altered the laws of nature. Like all the life forms are mutating, and it looks alien and sci-fi, but also mysterious and supernatural at the same time. This movie will keep you thinking about everything that you saw in it long after the credits roll. It's hard to call this movie horror because there are certainly parts of it that are scary. Some visuals in this movie can be horrible and beautiful at the same time. And that's true about a lot of cosmic horror stories because at their core, they're not scary, they're just mysterious. And because we have this primal fear of things we don't understand, we perceive them as scary. But we can also look at them with mystery and awe. Moving on to number 2, we have Arrival. This movie starts when 12 of these alien ships land on Earth without any seeming purpose. And once every 24 hours, a ship opens to let in anyone who's willing to go in. And this linguist is selected to enter the spaceship and try to communicate with these aliens. One of the things that movies get wrong about aliens a lot is that they're often very humanoid, or at least a lot like the creatures that we find here on Earth. But the thing is, an alien life form that evolved on a different planet would likely be completely different from anything on Earth. It will be so different that it's hard to even imagine what it would look like. Right? So before we even think about creating fictional aliens, we have to let go of everything we know about life on Earth. But in this movie, the aliens are like nothing that you would ever find on Earth. And not just in the way they look, but also in the way they think, in the way they communicate, and in the way that they perceive reality and time. I just love this movie for how far the writers were willing to go in imagining how different life forms can be from us. Number 3. Contact. The story for this movie was written by the legendary Carl Sagan, the astrophysicist who created the original Cosmos series. So this movie imagines what would happen if we received a proof of the existence of extraterrestrial intelligent life in the form of a radio signal from a distant planet. How would the world react? How would it affect world politics? What would it do to science and religions? And it turns out that in those signals, there's instructions to create some machine that would cost $250 billion. It's not clear in the beginning what it would do, but people think that it would act as a teleportation machine to send someone from Earth to the planet that the signal was coming from. And because this movie was written by an astrophysicist, it focuses a lot on realism. It's not overly dramatized, and instead, the movie shows the world deal with such a revelation, the existence of another life form. Number 4, Nope. Lovecraftian inspiration is very clear in Jordan Peele movies. He even made an HBO series called Lovecraft Country. But my favorite Jordan Peele movie is Nope from 2022. Now from the trailer, it looks like a UFO movie, but when you get into it, you realize that it's so much more. So the premise is that there's this person who runs a horse ranch, and he notices that there's this one cloud that never seems to move. And the more we learn about this UFO, the more mysterious it gets. This movie is so good that I'm surprised that there are not more cosmic horror movies. You can see elements of cosmic horror in other Jordan Peele movies as well, like Us and Get Out. Although in those movies, it's not cosmic in scale. It's a surprise to me how Jordan Peele manages to weave together such an engaging cosmic horror, mystery, and social commentary in the same narrative. But that's why he's been so critically acclaimed. Number 5, Bird Box. This movie was immensely popular when it came out, and I'd be surprised if you haven't seen it, but I still want to talk about it. So in this movie, there's this global invasion by these weird creatures or monsters, I don't know what to call them, but whenever someone looks at this thing, they have this immediate compulsion to unalive themselves. Now in the movie, it's said that when you look at this creature, it takes the form of your greatest fear and your greatest source of sadness. And we never get to see this creature because apparently it doesn't really have a real form that you can look at because it changes based on who's looking at it. What's strange to me is the idea that everyone has some fear that's so disturbing to them that if they ever saw it realized, they would immediately unalive themselves. Like, it's not like they get depressed first and then think about unaliving themselves and then do it. They do it using the first tool they see around themselves that would allow them to do it, like in seconds. How could a person be influenced into taking the most extreme decision of their life just by looking at something? To me, the idea that something like this is possible is scarier than any monster that I have seen in movies. Now, I think this movie was a victim of its own success. Because it was so popular, a lot of people made fun of it, and some even compared it to A Quiet Place, which came out earlier that year. I can see the similarities between these two movies in the sense that in both of these movies, there's this alien invasion, and we follow a family as it attempts to survive, and that both movies have something to do with our senses. But these are superficial similarities, and I'm sure they're coincidental because the point of these movies is completely different from each other. In A Quiet Place, the threat is very clear. Like, it's an alien who has super sensitive hearing, but we do get to see it eventually, so it is a conventional monster. Whereas in Bird Box, the threat is unknowable and very Lovecraftian in my opinion. So these were my favorite cosmic horror movies. I've been looking for more movies like this, so if you have any suggestions for me, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.